I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee. And
Charlie Kirk didn't need strangers online stirring things up to feel like something was off with Erika. That uneasy feeling had been sitting with him for a while, and then a leaked audio recording pushed it straight into the spotlight. According to that audio, Erika was allegedly still involved with her ex behind Charlie's back, and the timing raised serious eyebrows. There are said to be conversation records that match up a little too neatly with dates Charlie's parents have reportedly been questioning for months now. That's where the situation took a sharp turn. Instead of keeping it quiet and handling it inside the family, Charlie's parents decided to step in hard. They pushed for one move that changed the entire direction of this story: a DNA test. People close to the family say this wasn't random either. Charlie had already been asking himself those same questions in private, but now those questions were out in the open, and nobody could ignore them anymore. Charlie didn't want to be the first one to say it out loud. Asking those kinds of questions can shake everything you think you know. But if Erika was allegedly being dishonest about the affair, then it opened the door to even bigger doubts. Once trust starts cracking like that, it doesn't stop at just one issue. It spreads fast. Now, before getting into why this audio leaked when it did, or why Charlie's parents suddenly refused to stay quiet, there's something important that has to be addressed. This wasn't about a single lie or one bad decision. The foundation had already been weakening long before this moment.
A picture of Erika Kirk with a ponytail, and from her past. That person matches who I saw at Fort Huachuca in the lobby the night before, and she was with that man in the lobby. And that man, he was present at that meeting.
For years, Erika carefully built and pushed a very specific image of herself. She told the same story again and again to anyone willing to listen. Faith-driven, disciplined, untouched by chaos, no dating around, no partying, no risky behavior, just a clean path straight to marriage, staying home and living for family. But Charlie never fully accepted that version of her past, and now, under real pressure, that image is starting to show serious cracks. She didn't just stick to that image. She doubled all the way down on it during a recent televised town hall interview. She said it flat out, with confidence, claiming she hadn't dated anyone for years before meeting Charlie. The way she framed it wasn't accidental either. She clearly wanted to stand apart, to look different, elevated, and untouched by the kind of dating life she subtly painted others as having. But Charlie never fully bought into that version of events. From early on, he noticed the holes, timelines that felt foggy, answers that stayed vague, and small details that changed depending on who was asking the questions. He clocked it all, quietly. Something felt off, but instincts alone weren't enough. He needed real proof. And for a long time, that proof just didn't surface. That changed when Erika's ex allegedly dropped photos that flipped the entire narrative on its head. The images reportedly placed her in New York, actively living a single life at the exact time she later claimed she wasn't dating at all. That directly clashed with the story she'd been repeating for years, and suddenly the timeline started looking real shaky.
I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than going. I don't drink. I find it unproductive, not because I'm holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way. But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to drinks with one guy and then go to dinner.
Then people started revisiting her reality TV appearance from 2018, filmed at New York City bars and in the Hamptons. The footage showed her out, socializing, drinking, and moving freely. Fully outside the clean-cut persona she later insisted was her only truth. And that raised a simple but serious question. If it was all harmless, why work so hard to erase it later? Once that thread got pulled, the inconsistencies piled up fast. Details didn't just look messy, they looked deliberately avoided. Charlie's long-held suspicions didn't seem dramatic anymore. They seemed reasonable. What once looked like doubt suddenly looked like awareness. This is where the pattern really starts showing itself. Erika didn't just rewrite pieces of her past, she never fully shut the door on that chapter before Charlie even entered her life. Public relationships, visible connections, and documented moments clashed hard with her later claims that none of it ever happened. She was publicly involved with multiple men during that time, even while later insisting that entire phase didn't exist. And this wasn't quiet or casual either. One of those relationships was with a professional baseball player, and she spoke about it openly in a magazine interview, showing admiration, affection, and pride without hesitation. That makes the later denials hit even harder. She didn't hide how she felt about JT back then at all. She openly called him her favorite human, her best friend, and her incredible boyfriend.
That was until I hosted the first Trump rally in Trump rally history right here in Arizona in 2015. I got a call from Miss Erika Kirk, Miss Arizona 2012. I just want to help, she said. So naturally, I put her right behind the president at that first rally.
That kind of attachment doesn't just disappear overnight, and for years, many people believed Erika and JT were actually engaged. No official marriage records ever appeared. But engagement-style photos of the two spread fast online and kept resurfacing, reopening questions she clearly didn't want dragged back into the spotlight. But the footage that really sent things sideways came from a political rally in 2015. In the clip, Erika is standing beside a man with a young child positioned nearby. Once the internet slowed the video down, people started analyzing everything frame by frame. Some viewers began pointing out similarities and connections Erika had long worked hard to distance herself from, not making claims, but raising eyebrows she didn't expect to see again. Then came the detail that changed how people looked at the entire scene. In the same frame, standing in the bleachers, was Tyler Bauer, the same Tyler who would later introduce Erika to Charlie. The same Tyler who is now deeply embedded inside TPUSA leadership. That overlap didn't sit right with a lot of people, because suddenly this wasn't just about old relationships. It raised a much bigger question. Erika was clearly moving through the same political and social circles years before she ever claimed to meet Charlie. That timeline clash made people start wondering whether she truly closed the door on her past, or if she simply rebranded, switched lanes, and kept moving forward without ever fully addressing it. And that's where the story really tightens up. When Erika eventually stood in front of Charlie presenting herself as untouched, deeply faithful, and ready for marriage, people started asking whether that image was the full truth, or just the final version of a long-running reinvention.
Picture of Erika Kirk, and I'm assuming her baby, but listen, look at her hands. I'm going to show you a picture of these scars. There is a scar right there. Zoom in on it if you need to.
So, the question shifts fast. Was that faith, or was it strategy? Because this is where the story stops sounding like confusion and starts looking deliberate. Erika didn't marry Charlie off some sudden magical romance. She married him when the timing was right, to settle down, reshape her image, and step closer to influence and power. That part always seems to get skipped when she tells their love story. This is also where her connection to Tyler Bauer becomes impossible to ignore. Nothing about Erika meeting Charlie looks random once you trace the steps backward. The dots line up a little too cleanly. By 2017, Tyler Bauer had stepped into a major leadership role at TPUSA. Not long after that, he arranged what was presented publicly as a professional job interview between Erika and Charlie. Somehow, that interview turned into their first date, and that alone raised eyebrows for people paying attention. But here's the issue that never gets addressed. Right before that introduction happened, Erika wasn't single. She wasn't searching for love, and she definitely wasn't living the quiet, disciplined lifestyle she later described. She later acknowledged that she was actively dating Cabot Phillips during that same time period. Cabot worked closely inside the same media and political world, and his name already had tension attached to it because of public disagreements involving Charlie. That overlap alone made things awkward, but the timeline made it even harder to explain away. An old social media post from September 2017 resurfaced showing Erika and Cabot together on a painting date. That confirmed they were still involved during the same window when Erika was being introduced to Charlie. That detail directly clashed with the story she later told about being untouched by dating. Even more uncomfortable, photos from that same period showed Cabot and Charlie moving in the same social circles, even attending the same events. That makes the claim that Erika randomly met Charlie much later start to fall apart fast.
The defense wants to ban cameras in the courtroom. How do you feel about that?
There were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered. There have been cameras all over my friends and family mourning. There have been cameras all over me, analyzing my every move, analyzing my every smile, my every tear. We deserve to have cameras in there. Why not be transparent? There's nothing to hide. I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on. Let everyone see what true evil is. This is something that could impact a generation and generations to come.
Once you accept that Erika was dating Cabot while being introduced to Charlie through Tyler Bauer, everything clicks into place. Suddenly, Charlie's long-standing doubts make sense. He didn't reject her story out of jealousy. He rejected it because the timeline never stopped contradicting itself. This is where it turns deeply personal. Once the timeline started lining up in his own mind, Charlie didn't confront Erika with accusations or start a blow-up argument. According to people close to the situation, he did something much quieter. He pulled back. From that point on, the marriage didn't feel the same. Charlie became more guarded, more selective with what he shared, and noticeably more cautious when it came to decisions involving the kids. This wasn't fear or paranoia, it was control. When you begin to suspect that someone may have carefully shaped their entire identity to gain access to your life, your family, and your future, you don't rush, you slow down. Charlie didn't jump to conclusions, but he stopped operating on blind trust. Every move became more intentional, more measured, and more protective. That's when his parents became a bigger presence. Charlie made sure they were around the kids regularly, not just in a casual grandparent role, but as an added layer of consistency and stability. Familiar faces, familiar routines, and people he trusted nearby at all times. It wasn't dramatic, it was strategic. At the time, people noticed the shift but couldn't explain it. Now it's clearer why. Charlie didn't want the kids insulated inside a version of reality he no longer trusted. He wanted witnesses, balance, and family members who understood his concerns and could see things unfold in real time. And that change wasn't subtle. It was steady and deliberate.
The entire issue and the energy right now is that people, irrespective of what's happening on paper, don't believe the story. They don't believe the story. And you are, and of course, this is only a snippet of the interview, so I'm sure more will be said here. But I'm getting that you have seen the case, you think it's a solid case, she thinks it's a solid case at least, and is saying, show everybody what you have so they can see true evil. Within her capacity of chairman and CEO of Turning Point USA, they could be more transparent about what happened that day. People don't like the stuff that they've seen about Mikey McCoy. They don't like what they've seen about Rob McCoy. They don't like the history of Rob and Mikey McCoy and their involvement here. They don't like the video of Terrell. They don't believe what time text messages were sent or when the phone calls took place. You know, Rob McCoy is lying. In the areas that you can control the transparency, I think doing that would be beneficial to Turning Point USA, because I don't think Turning Point USA is.
From there, Charlie started structuring his life like someone preparing for an outcome he never spoke about publicly. His schedule tightened, his circle narrowed, and his decisions became more cautious across the board. He wasn't escalating conflict, he was bracing for impact. And now, with Charlie no longer here to explain his choices or defend his perspective, the situation has intensified on its own. According to people close to the family, his parents have stepped forward and are no longer staying silent. After everything that has surfaced, the contradictions, the shifting timelines, and the unanswered questions, they have allegedly demanded DNA tests. Not to stir chaos, but to finally get clarity that never came when Charlie was still alive. This is where the overlap becomes impossible to dismiss anymore. According to people close to the family, there is now zero trust left in Erika's word. And that includes the most sensitive question of all. What makes this moment hit harder is why it's happening now. Charlie may have carried doubts quietly while he was alive, but his parents are the ones left holding the responsibility, and they are not willing to protect any storyline if it puts the kids in a vulnerable position. From their perspective, silence is no longer an option. They aren't acting out of anger, they're acting out of obligation. Charlie isn't here to ask the questions himself anymore, and that weight has fallen directly on them. And once trust is broken at this level, every unanswered question becomes a risk they're not willing to ignore. And here's the part that has people deeply unsettled. There are growing rumors that if DNA tests confirm the children are Charlie's, his parents are prepared to pursue full custody. That single possibility changes everything. Because now this isn't just about past inconsistencies or reputation damage. It becomes about where they believe the kids are safest long-term. The fact that they are even considering this move shows just how completely trust has collapsed. This is no longer a public controversy. It's a private reckoning. Custody isn't something people pursue lightly, especially grandparents. For them to even discuss it suggests they believe something fundamental was wrong for a long time. And that raises a question nobody wants to ask out loud. What did Charlie see that never made it to the public? So now everything hangs on results that can't be spun, edited, or explained away. If the DNA confirms what Charlie quietly questioned, this story doesn't end with leaked audio or resurfaced photos. It turns into a legal fight that reopens the entire marriage after the fact and reshapes it forever. And if it doesn't, then it means Charlie spent his final years living with doubts that never got answers. Either outcome is heavy. Either the suspicions were real or a man lived with unanswered questions until the very end. And in both scenarios, the image Erika once sold is already gone. What remains is a paper trail, fractured trust, and a family that no longer believes silence is the responsible choice. Charlie never went public with his concerns. He never confronted them head-on or tried to control the narrative. But now, according to people close to the family, his parents are forcing the truth into the open. Not for attention, not for drama, but because they believe the truth was delayed for too long. If you think these questions deserve real answers, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment with your thoughts, and share this with anyone following the story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.